What's up, addicts? Welcome to the Fantasy Addiction Network. In this video, we're going to be breaking down quarterback Tua Tagovailoa and going over his potential fantasy outlook heading into the 2020 NFL Draft. But hey, before we get started, if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. Anyway, let's get right into it. Started, check out the link in the description. We are offering a free tail kickoff special for our fan companion tool. You get access all the way up into the kickoff of the NFL season for absolutely free, so make sure you check out that link. All right, guys. So this year is pretty interesting and exciting in terms of quarterback prospects heading into the NFL. Now, there's a lot of lower grade prospects, but we are blessed with Joe Burrow and Tua Tagovailoa as very high-end prospects, guys that could very easily become franchise starters going forward. Now, the main issue, obviously, with those of you that follow college, know that Tua suffered a massive hip dislocation injury, which cut his junior year short. All indications show that right now he has received successful surgery and is recovering fine. There's definitely some debate as to whether or not this will impact or affect his career going forward. From the medical community around Twitter sphere for fantasy football is saying that it doesn't actually look like it's going to hamper his career at all. Now, obviously it's hard to make that assessment without seeing anything, but based on the knowledge that we know, it doesn't appear that's going to impact him any more than this first season. Most likely probably not going to be relied on as a starter from week one, which is okay. And I think that is actually something you still want for a lot of rookie quarterbacks. You don't want to put that pressure on them, especially when they're recovering from a pretty significant injury. So in terms of fantasy value in this year, probably not going to be someone that we're looking at in redraft leagues, as I wouldn't expect him to be playing in a starting role, at least not until about halfway through the season. So in terms of landing spots, I do think that Joe Burrow is going to go number 1 overall to Cincinnati, but Tua could easily go to Washington, the Chargers, the Dolphins. I think those are all reasonable spots for him. Probably going to go 1 or 2 overall. I don't see him falling any farther than that. Now, in terms of prospect ratings, obviously we don't have any workout metrics because of his injury. He didn't attend the combine. 6 foot, 217 pounds, 10-inch hands, so much bigger than Burrow, but not that that necessarily matters. Best college quarterback rating, 94.8, which is also 99th percentile, so something that he and Joe Burrow share. He's actually higher in yards per attempt than Joe Burrow, and definitely has more of your expected pinpoint deep ball accuracy that Joe Burrow didn't necessarily show. You look at his stats over his 3 years. He took over, or actually began playing in 2017 when he was a freshman. Only 77 passing attempts, 636 yards, but that was the year that he took over from Jalen Hurts in that championship game and didn't really look back from that point. In 2018, 15 games, 355 pass attempts, 3,966 yards, 11.2 yards per attempt, and a 69% completion percentage. Really good for a sophomore year. 43-6 touchdown interception ratio. Only 190 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. This system did not require Tua to have to run the ball nearly as much as some college quarterbacks have to rely on their legs, but he did show the ability to do it. Definitely more of a move the chains forward type runs, not necessarily a guy that you're expecting to get like 30-40 yards rushing down the field. He's not Lamar Jackson. And then last year in his junior year, 9 games before that injury, 252 pass attempts, 2,840 yards, and a 71% completion percentage, 33 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. So prior to suffering this injury, was definitely on a trajectory to have a massive year as well. Very high completion percentage, and his deep ball accuracy is by far the best of his class. Now, I know that is not the only thing that makes a quarterback good. He does have the ability to create some space for himself in the pocket, but again, playing for Alabama, you always have to take into consideration how good that offensive line and how that line is. He had a really good supporting cast with Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs. Really good defense, always in there, and Alabama has been that way for quite some time. So always have to take these things into consideration, but Tua has been doing it for 3 years in a row. That injury definitely adds a bit of an asterisk to what he can do. But overall, if he can recover from that injury, I really like Tua. From a fantasy perspective, he has that big play ability. Maybe tries to force big play a little bit too much. Something that could definitely turn into a few more mistakes being made in the in his pro career. But overall, if he goes to the right system, I love Tua, especially in Dynasty, which is what we're mostly talking about right now. So in terms of rookie drafts, he's probably going to go around the back end of the first round in Superflex and 2 quarterback leagues. Maybe even go a little earlier than that if someone needs a quarterback. I probably wouldn't take him anywhere earlier than like the middle to the back of the first round in a Superflex league. Obviously behind Joe Burrow most likely, although I feel like from a comparable standpoint, based on where he goes, there is definitely reason to argue that Tua could have a more productive fantasy career, at least in the early parts of his career. Maybe that hip injury will prevent him from making it to his 3rd contract, but overall, I do think, at least in the short term, Tua definitely has every much of potential to be a massive fantasy asset going forward. And then in 1 quarterback leagues, you're probably not looking at quarterbacks anywhere near the first round, probably somewhere in the 2nd round as well. But if you miss out on Joe Burrow, but you really need a quarterback, don't feel like you're losing out too much by going to Tua. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Also, make sure to check out my website at fantasyaddictionnetwork.com for more information and news on this rookie class. Anyway, see you guys in the next video. Take care.